Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where last episode we arrived here at Eve and we matched planes with our target and got this rendezvous node set up. We could dial that in, but we're just going to do it with corrective burns. So that'll be absolutely fine. We are currently getting into position for this burn. Where is Eve? There's Eve. Okay, so let's get into position here and we'll warp forward our roughly 3 days until that burn. 2 days, 1 day, and here we are. Excellent. So we'll warp forward about that extra minute. 40 seconds, 30, 20, 10, and 2, 1, 0 mark. Excellent. So in we go. We want to hit this relatively correctly. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but that's good enough. So we're going to go on to kill rot for right now, and we know that this is going to be in 4 days, 4 hours, and 55 minutes. So let's warp in to about here. And we'll take a look at where we are. Oh, this moved on us a bit. Quite a bit, actually. Let's see if it moves back after the warp. It might. Yeah, it will. Okay, cool. So we now can see this is our towards target marker. This is our prograde marker. I want to be in target mode here. There we go. So we can see that we definitely can do a corrective burn about here or so. But it's probably not hugely efficient to do it here. And I also want to do it on the retrograde side. So we're going to warp forward about an extra hour. And we're going to want to flip around to the target velocity minus marker. So let's physics warp as we turn. I'm going to pin this guy open here so we can see 39.8 kilometers is our current intercept. And we're just going to give ourselves a bit of a corrective burn, and we're going to want to burn somewhere around here-ish. So let's bring this on over to kill rot, and let's position ourselves actually a little more horizontally. Right about, even this is a little high. We're basically just needing to push it this way. Okay. So let's give ourselves a bit of a corrective burn here. And there we go. We see that coming on down. Now it's going back up. So we know we've overshot a bit. We're going to warp in a bit closer. And let's see what sort of a corrective burn we need to do here. We did cut our distance approximately in half with that corrective burn, so that'll be absolutely fine. It's looking like we're probably going to want to get a little closer before we do this corrective burn. Yes, I think that we should get a little bit closer here. So we're going to head on in to about here. An extra 15 minutes forward. Watching this node and seeing how far apart these get. But we're going to push them back onto each other. Okay, let's position for that. So we're going to push the retrograde node onto the away from target node. So this is not exactly where I want to do this burn. I want to bring this down just a hair, about here or so. Cool. That brought this down to 4.2 kilometers, so that's a much, much better correction. And we'll warp in about an extra few minutes here. And we'll keep an eye on these nodes, and we'll probably want to do at least one more corrective burn here. Cool. So now we can see that we need to be up over this way for our corrective burn. We just want to push this node onto here. Actually, it's not quite this far, is it? It's about here for the corrective burn. Cool. There we go. 0.4 kilometers. That will do the trick. We can warp in a little closer, though, and so we shall. But we're going to want to head over to target velocity minus very soon and just start killing our relative speed. And that's almost certainly something that we want to do. Well, when is this going to be in? 1 minute? Okay. Let's warp a little closer here. This is 125 meters per second. It shouldn't take us more than about 10 seconds to burn that much delta V, right? I think. Let's warp in a little further. And let's commence that warp at like 3, maybe even like 1.5 kilometers. Okay. We're pretty... Wow. We are not heading over towards target velocity minus at all. What is happening here? Why are we not... KSP, what are you doing? Okay. Apparently that is target velocity minus. Oh no, it was trying to go right. I keep forgetting the names. I'm dumb. I'm dumb. It's okay. We're only 31.6 meters per second apart. We can get a corrective, not even a corrective burn here, but we can just bring this on in. Yeah, we can see here this is virtually opposite of what we need to go. We need to pretty much turn around our relative speed here, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to bring this on over, and then we're just going to move the prograde marker. And the prograde marker moves toward our current directionality of thrust. So we're just going to get a nice corrective burn, bringing this out over here. That's not perfect, but it'll get us heading the right direction. So let's warp around here and get positioned. We're only moving at 11.4 meters per second, right? So it's not that big of a deal. That was definitely a mistake on my part there. I forgot my terminology. It's apparently been a long day. But we're going to hop up over this direction. There we go. And we can definitely push this node, but I'm not going to do it just yet. I'm going to let us head on in a little bit because I don't want to slow us down too much more than we already are right now. Cool. By the way, I believe we already rendezvoused. But we have to do a docking, right? Yeah, we have to do a docking for this contract. So that's okay. We're just going to burn about here. And I want to push these nodes together a bit. Okay. That's certainly not perfect. Not perfect at all. We're just going to move over this direction and push it over. We've overshot a bit. Ooh, that's a lot. Okay. Let's just go to relative velocity minus for right now. Actually, let's go to relative velocity plus. We're probably going to need a little bit more speed than this. And I would also like to arm our grabbing unit. And we're going to need to operate via RCS very, very shortly here. But what I really want to do right now is thrust limit this guy down to 0.5% thrust. And then we're going to head over this direction on kill rot. And we're going to pull this over and get ourselves a little bit of speed towards this guy. Just a smidge. We're barely changing things right now on that 0.5% thrust. We're at like 0.5% of 0.5% here. But we are actually burning right now. Bringing it up a little further. Okay, that'll do for the moment. Now I want to point at the target. And we're only going at 0.2 meters per second, right? But I want to accelerate this up to be a little bit more. Like half a meter per second or something. That's probably about right. So let's throttle this up. 0.5 meter per second. Cool. So we're going to head in at about this speed, and now we're going to go into kill rot, and we're going to turn on RCS. I'm actually going to turn Smart ASS off for the moment because we're making velocity adjustments with our RCS. We're not actually trying to make attitude adjustments. We're making velocity adjustments with the RCS. So we can now warp in a decent chunk until we see this start to drift. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start a braking burn with our RCS. 0.2, 0.1, maybe, and 0. Okay. We're not exactly stable, but it'll do. I don't actually want to attach up over here. I want to attach more down here. So we're going to eyeball that. Something about like this. And we are using RCS for this as well, just so that we can turn a little bit more quickly. And let's just head on in and grab a hold. Okay, I'm going to turn RCS off at this time. I also shut down our engines. And this is looking good. Cool. So we've now docked up. That should be our contract complete. And all we're going to do here, really, is we're just going to refuel. There's not any crew here or anything. So we're just going to pin this guy open, and we're going to move that fuel in. So we just want to leave this completely without any fuel, is the goal here. So over that goes, and then these are going to refuel this, although it's probably not going to be enough to get us home. We'll see. We're going to want to start heading home quite quickly here, though. So there we go. There's that refueling done. I'm going to turn Smart ASS completely off for right now. We'll pin all of these bad boys open. That's 3 tanks total? 3 tanks total. Okay. And we'll say in, and let's warp. Cool. We'll go for this tank next. In. So we can see these tanks are currently dry. And this one, I think we might not... Oh, we did get it full. Okay. So this last little bit will go into this tank. There's not much there, but there we go. These fuel tanks are now all completely dry. So that's perfect. This is out of fuel and will become just a relay satellite here. And now we can detach. So we'll release that, and I want to be in control of this guy. And we'll just get ourselves a little bit of distance with our RCS. There we go. We'll disarm this guy. And, I mean, looking at our Delta V here, we'll just go home the old-fashioned way. So that's absolutely fine. I think at this point, we want to go away from the sun, right? So we want to burn, in theory, like here. Now, it's not going to be a lot to escape. No, this is the wrong direction. Okay, so we're going to burn up here then. Things are a little bit awkward for us here, but yeah, that's the correct direction. So if we were to set Kerbin as our target, we know that we're going to be 1.2 degrees off. That's okay. Although I suppose we could try to toss in... We're not even going to try. Where are we going to be? Do we have any timing here whatsoever? Actually, that'd be a big old braking burn. But if we were to delay this or burn earlier, maybe burn slightly earlier, that'd be a very hefty braking burn, to be clear. I think we're not going to go for this encounter. I think all we're going to go for is parking a parking orbit about here. And we'll just do this the old-fashioned way, right? So we're just going to get our inclination change here, and then we'll circularize, and then we'll go for our encounter at that point. It looks like we need to wait a little bit anyway. So this will probably be our best bet here. Okay, so we are in position for this burn, and we're going to warp on forward. Goodbye, relay satellite. It's been nice knowing ya. We didn't need to move any components around either. Bill was just brought just in case, right? I'm pretty sure Bill was brought just in case. I hope so. If not, we may have to park him in orbit and send up a rescue mission in orbit of Kerbin. But I'm pretty sure he's got everything he needs to come home. So that should be fine. We've got about 50 seconds here. 40, 30, 20, 10, and 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Oh, hang on a moment. We're still thrust limited. We need to do some more warping. About another hour here. I don't want to be burning for 2 hours. We'll pass on that one. Okay, let's warp forward again. Bypassed it a bit, but this is fine. This doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Just ballparking it is good enough. So we'll make our way through this. We'll get our inclination change done as soon as we can. Okay. This'll do. Inclination change will, of course, be out here. 1 degree inclination change instead of 1.2. Okay, sure. We'll happily take that. And we need to go, not this direction, but this direction. And something like this. Cool. Head on over towards that node. That's 200 meters per second. Nothing too scary there. And that burn is going to be in 14 days. That'll be after we change spheres of influence, so hopefully it doesn't break on us. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll check it before we actually leave here. Or actually, before we perform this burn, we'll check it. It should be virtually the same. I don't think there's any fundamental way for this to break, honestly. So it should be fine. As soon as we're clear of this... Actually, we are actually clear of it right now. So yeah, we're good. We're in space high over the sun. I thought that we never left Eve, but no, we did. Okay, cool. I never noticed it load in. I like it. So we're going to warp forward a little bit further there. 40 seconds, 30, 20, 10, and 210 mark. So inclination change underway here. Only about another 10 seconds on this burn. And then we'll just look at pushing out from our ascending node, or not our ascending node, our apoapsis. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, isn't it? Kinda, yeah. So we'll add our maneuver here, and we'll see what that looks like. Okay, not amazing on the timing. Not amazing at all. I want to check in here. Okay. So, I mean, it's still definitely not amazing, right? We could bring it forward some number of phasing orbits, but really, I think we're far better off just circularizing here and then doing the phasing orbits after we find a decent encounter. So that's going to be in 100 days. We are going to warp on towards that, but we should probably stop this warp and get positioned. That would probably help, considering how slowly we turn. So we'll get set up for that here. There we go. About another 70 days until we're ready for our orbital raise burn here. Cool. So let's get that all set up. And then the question is, how many phasing orbits are we going to need before we're ready to transfer to Kerbin? I don't know. We'll find out. Hopefully 0, but I highly doubt that that's going to be the case. That would be very, very strange if that was the case. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Cool. So about 30 seconds here. Not too bad on the Delta V front. 3, 2, 1, and almost there. There, that'll do. More than close enough. So descending node is 0.0. Okay, let's look for a maneuver. That's really far off. We're starting to get kind of close over here. So it looks like we're going to need a phasing orbit. I'm not shocked about that, to be clear. Was I thinking about that wrong? I might have been. We might need multiple phasing orbits, so... Yeah, that's looking awkward. Okay, so multiple phasing orbits are, of course, not ideal. This would be about what we'd be looking for. About almost exactly here, actually. Yeah, that's not bad. So let's see what that encounter actually looks like before we commit to a almost 3-year phasing. Wow, that's a nice encounter. Okay. Now it's a collision course. Yes. But we can fix that. So we'd bring this up to be probably right at about 70 kilometers. Would be where we'd want to park this at. Maybe like 75. This would be pretty ideal. This would not take much to circularize, and we can come back very controlled. I like it. It is a long phasing time, no doubt about that, but Bill is fine. Bill is ageless and immortal, so he'll be completely okay with this. Let's warp on forward, and I will see you guys in, I guess, almost 3 years. Okay, so here we are, almost 3 years later. We're still in the last little bit of time warp here, but we will carry on through here. This is going to be a 24-second burn. That is actually not much to get us into this orbit. Okay, cool. We want to hit this quite accurately, too. We're probably going to have to do some sort of a corrective burn after this. We don't necessarily want to go into the atmosphere right away. Not with the re-entry profile that I have in mind, anyway. There are definitely aero capture profiles that we could take here, but we're not really targeting that. We've got so much Delta V that we don't need to risk it. Not that it's all that risky, but we don't need to do it. So we've got about 5 seconds here until our burn, and there we go. Cool. So off we go home. This burn will return us home, in theory, assuming we don't mess it up, which is always a possibility. So we'll see what ends up happening here. We've got about 150 meters per second to go here. 80 meters per second. And about 3 seconds left on this burn. Okay. I may have overshot slightly. We're going to head on around and we'll get a corrective burn in here. We're just going to use the node system for this correction for right now. We know we're 0.9 meters per second off, and let's get into position to do some correction here. This will get us into a usable orbit, but it's not as good of an orbit as I'd like. So we're going to position here, and we're going to bring this guy right on in. Okay, now I'm going to thrust limit our engine. Cool. And let's take a look at what we've got here. Okay, now this is more usable. Beautiful. That'll do right there. I love it. So once we arrive at this periapsis, we are, of course, going to do a retrograde burn here, and we'll just circularize at that point. This is going to ditch the majority of our fuel here. Well, actually, not quite the majority. It's going to ditch this stage for sure, and then we'll just be on the nuclear engine. We could try to bring back with the we could try to bring the nuclear engine back. We could try to recover that if I can learn to speak. But apparently that's, you know, out of the question. So we're just going to get lined up here instead, and we've got 190 days on this warp. Well, if last episode's time warp was awkward at 186, to be honest, 190 is even more awkward. This is really, really borderline on what I would usually cut out. For now, we'll call it good, and we'll just head on in. 190 days is certainly awkward. I don't know where Kerbin is. Are we going to be coming in front or behind Kerbin? Where is Kerbin now? Basically parallel to us. And away from the sun. Oh, hello. There's Kerbal. Not Kerbal. This is Kerbin. Hi, Kerbin. Hi, Moon. I don't see Minmus just yet, but it's there somewhere. Okay, so in we come. Oh, right. We're thrust limited. Let's unthrust limit that, and we're going to continue to warp for a bit here. Beautiful. So in we go. Cool. Now, we could have definitely targeted aero capture here, and maybe we should have, but with all of this fuel, I really don't think there's a reason to do it. So we're just going to warp forward here. We really should be not in physics warp for that. 30 seconds, 20, 10, and 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Excellent. So we're going to burn everything off of our poodle at this point. We are going to be out of fuel here rather quickly. We're going to run out of fuel in this tank, and then these tanks are going to run out very fast. Actually, they're all going to run out simultaneously, aren't they? Maybe not. It's actually going to be close. No, they do all run out simultaneously. Okay. So we ditched that, and we're finally using this nuclear engine, which was not overkill at all. I don't know what you're talking about. This nuclear engine was entirely necessary. 100% necessary. Definitely. There's no doubt about it. Now, we are in orbit of Kerbin at this point, and we're just bringing that orbit on down. I'm keeping an eye on that periapsis height. It's going up for right now, so that's actually fine. Not a big deal there, and we're just going to slowly bring this on down. Really, we could bring down our apoapsis to like 40 kilometers here, and that's probably the smart way to go. I'm going to move this guy up if we're going to try to salvage the nuclear engine. Then we should probably angle for about that 40 kilometer dip. So we're watching this periapsis here at this point, and 40 kilometers is right there. Okay, cool. We're going to go into orbital, or actually surface velocity minus here. There we go. And we can definitely turn much faster now. We should stow this antenna. We should also consider stowing our solar panels. And so we shall. So we'll put those away in anticipation of our re-entry. And let's not actually physics warp here. Let's time warp until such a time as we get down to inatmo. We were still going towards the apoapsis there. We were going up. So we'll bring this on down. There we go. And let's physics warp on over to surface velocity minus. The next question is, when do we commence our braking burn here? Our thrust to weight is below 1, which is completely understood. That's fine. Not shocking. I'm pretty sure we can recover this as is. Pretty sure. So I'm just watching our time to periapsis here. The moment we see that start to hold firm, instead of going down the way it is right now, the moment we see that hold steady, we're going to commence our burn at that point. Okay. And eventually that time to periapsis is going to start, or actually no, it might start going back up soon. It's definitely slowing down. Yeah, that's definitely slowing down. It hasn't held yet. Okay. Holding. So now we're commencing the burn. Beautiful. Coming out of the physics warp here, and we're just going to burn from here, probably straight on down to the surface, or at least until our chutes can be operated. So that'll be what we do here. We're going to bleed off a good amount of speed here. And we're just on surface velocity minus, so we're going to be trying to tackle this vertical speed here. We'll see how that goes. It's going to be very interesting, to be sure. Now, our thrust to weight is going to continue to go up for a bit, but it's going to go markedly down as we approach sea level. We also see right now our impact biome is in mountains. We want this to be in water, so we're going to kill as much... Oh, wow, we're coming down really close to the KSC. I didn't actually realize that. That's wonderful. The KSC is, like, right over here. That's great. Cool. So we're continuing to burn downwards here. We'll be able to see the KSC quite soon. In fact, arguably, can we see it now? It might be somewhere up over this direction, or this might be it here. Actually, I think this is probably it. Yeah, this is this bay here. This must be the KSC right there. Cool. So we're bringing this on down. We know that our impact time is going to be soon, but we need to continue to decelerate as much as possible. We're at 1,500 meters per second right now, and we've still got about 60 seconds of burn time in our nuclear engine, our very, very necessary nuclear engine. So let's bring this on down further. We're still 27 kilometers up right now, so nothing too major right now. We're going to be dropping somewhere around, actually, like here-ish. And yeah, this is definitely the KSC, 100%. So that's great. We may end up hitting some of this stuff over here. We'll see. We're just trying to remove as much mass as we can from this so that our drag has more effect. But we're also trying to reduce our speed. And I'm also attempting here, emphasis on attempting, to recover all of this stuff. We should be slowing down enough to fire chutes very shortly. We're still 10 kilometers up. Okay, 13, 12, 11, and 10. I'm cutting our engines. Come on, drogue chutes. It feels like we should be able to fire drogues right now. Okay, I'm burning the last of our little bit of fuel here so that our drogues are safe. There we go. Now we've still got 3 seconds of fuel left, so we'll use that for our final landing burn. But we were able to recover this. It was actually slightly dicey, though. That was slightly dicey. We've got 8 meters per second left here. Let's just warp this on down to the surface. Or very close to it. And then just before touchdown, we'll throttle up and burn this last little bit of fuel just to soften our touchdown that extra little bit. It's going to be in water, so that's absolutely fine. And I'm not sure where the KSC has gone at this point. I think it's off over this way, but that's absolutely fine. We are headed on down here. We're only about 60 meters up at this time. Cool. And there's that cushion. Excellent. So that is absolutely safe, and we'll recover that. So that's that contract complete. Now, I'm not sure what the next contract is going to be, but the next contract is going to be the final contract of this particular series. And we'll see what we want to do after that. Maybe a quick revisit of KSP2. I don't know. I haven't tried that in a while. Maybe they fixed some issues. We'll see. We will see. But the next contract will definitely be the last one. I'm committed to ending this series on episode 100. So that'll be great. We got all of that done. Let's check in mission control real quick. Transfer any crew between vessels near Ike. I'm getting really tired of these missions. Okay. We might do something else entirely. We'll see. We'll see. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atalet, Shadowwolf, Emlohan80, Rogue Corvid, Kentogan, Andy Magar, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.